to kick off the day, I'd like to ask him here up on stage, RUBENNIEWENHUIS.
I thought you, so is it on? It is on. I thought you would start with some sort of introduction on Bee Gees and that I'm a fan, but you skipped that part, huh?
I did skip that part, yes.
It's like,
I
you
can still say
it,
that.
huh?
So,
There you go.
Ruben here is a huge fan of the Bee Gees. Like, has been a huge fan of the Bee Gees for over 20 years. Who here is also a huge fan of the Bee Gees for over 20 years?
No, we have
There's some people that aren't even 20 that are holding up their hands. Don't think that's true. Maybe it's true. Anyway, when the Bee Gees are quite old now. When did they start? In the 50s?
Oh, yeah, a long time ago.
Long time ago.
There's only one left, huh, actually.
Oh, wow. So there's only one left, and he's getting quite old. When he's standing up on stage and singing and he's kind of losing his voice.
It was here at the Heineken Musical. You can imagine Robin Gibb, one of his last concerts. So I stepped in. Actually, I was the youngest person, in the room. And there were all seats because, they had to sit. And then Robin started singing, but it wasn't good. He was already old. So then we started to sing along. And he was like, wow, this is cool. So we, took him all through the concert. Anyway, this is the anecdote we discussed yesterday, to humanize a bit the speakers. Huh?
That's true.
There you go.
So if you want to sing along with the Bee Gees, maybe also Speakers Lounge
20
afterwards.
minutes. We do some karaoke as well. Thanks so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, give him another warm applause.
So great to be here, and which reminds me of a quote of the manager of the Bee Gees, who said to the guys, one hit doesn't make a career. And he said it after, the first hit, but, he went on saying that. And I think this is some sort of a metaphor for Amsterdam and for the tech and startup scene we are in. We are on fire, things are going pretty well. I will give you some examples of that. But one hit doesn't make a career. We are building this startup and tech ecosystem, and we should build it for the upcoming, let's say, 20 years. And we are just started. So this is, the bridge we were talking about, walls and bridge, the bridge from the Bee Gees to the tech sector. Let me this is my daily habit. So I step on the bike, and then I go around the city, and a lot of people then ask me, where is your office? I say, well, my office is at Amsterdam, or is at Startup Village when it comes to, Science Park, or it is at Rockstart, or it is on the other side in Noord at Open House Accelerator. So we are around the city. And 2 years ago, this, let's say, adventure started when Kajsa Ollongren, our deputy mayor, was sitting with a few entrepreneurs, startup founders, directors from accelerator programs, and after this round table, they said, well, Kajsa, you should go and do something. We were sitting here for already 2 years at round tables, bringing all kinds of ideas and suggestions, but you are not into action. So you should join forces. And then Kajsa said, okay, I will be back in 6 weeks from now with an action program. And then my colleague, Bas Beekman, he got this assignment. He's working for the city council, and then he reached out to entrepreneurs. One of which was myself, and then we actually created this action program to push Amsterdam in the top 3 of European tech clusters. So that was the ambition, or is the ambition, or what we like to say, is already happening. And we did it on a fundament of what is already there. So one hit doesn't make a career, but we had 2 or 3 days ago this cool announcement of this funding round, Series B of Picnic. It was a startup originated 1.5 years ago, and this is huge. You can compare it with Series B funding rounds of Snapchat or Uber. So this is a huge funding round. So we are moving forward. But when we started 2 years ago, we were building on top of a fundament that was already in place, like Rockstart, like Startup Bootcamp. We had already Achen growing really rapidly. Akate Wiki was already founded. So this was the space where we were at. And then we said, what is the biggest challenge for Amsterdam? And this came back to one problem we had, which was not enough fast-growing companies. So what is the next TomTom? What is the next Booking? And how can we help them grow? The second question we had, like, if this is the ambition and when this is the focus, how should we then play a role to startups? Or should we go wider? And we decided to go wider. So we said, we are a program, not only for startups, but we are there for universities, for tech companies, for scale-ups, for accelerator programs, for VCs, for all players in the ecosystem. And then people said, well, you should focus. You should not do it all. And we said, we are not going to focus. We're going to do it all, but we're going to start small. We work as a startup and we figure out what works. And when it works, we will scale it up. And I will show you a few examples we already worked on. And I will show you a few examples that we are, start working on the last few months. And my invitation to you is not only listen to what we see and be a bit of proud on what it is, and share, the proud when you are traveling abroad, but join forces. Work with us together because we need everyone on board. Because whatever I'm here presenting is not about me, it's not about Startup Amsterdam, our program, but it's all about the ecosystem, which is you, we the ecosystem, and all the players involved. So this is, let's say, the city we live in, and just in text, we just launched this data science school where we have over 250 courses of data science. We have Katawiki, which was for the last 2 years the fastest growing scale-up in Europe. We have the machine learning lab somewhere in the science park. And Max Welling, one of the professors, is the personal advisor of Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. So we are a center point when it comes to AI. And I can go on and on. So there is a lot of stuff, out there. And what we try to do as Startup Amsterdam, and what we ask you to do, is to know about it, to know our stories, to know the content, to know the facts, and bring them and share them and join forces. These are just a few of them. So let me go to a few examples and a few projects and initiatives that we kickstarted, and which were all created around 5 pillars. And these pillars are having more talent activated in Amsterdam or for Amsterdam, having more capital, like funding capital, which is the second pillar. The third pillar is having more launching customers or lead users. The fourth pillar is having more content, like mentors and events. And the fifth is being a real connected ecosystem. It's plain simple. So whatever I, let's say, mention here, it's doing the ordinary extremely well. Because what we do as a city is also being done in Helsinki, is being done in London with Tech City UK, and in cities around Europe and around the world. So we try to do the ordinary extremely well and to push really forward. And then my goal is always, when people say, well, when you present, what is your goal? My goal is that you think, hey, whoa, they do really a lot. And then, hey, I want to join in one of those initiatives. So let me go through the list. BSSA, which is a program where we re-educate unemployed people. So now over 350 young people were being re-educated and now working in tech companies, tech teams or startups. One of the programs. This is done together at Amsterdam with startup and coding academies. And we're now really going to ramp that up. A second example is the Growth Hacking Academy, Growth Tribe. So 1.5 years ago, we had this ambition to bring growth hacking into our university. And then we just sat down with an entrepreneur, Peter van Sabben, and he said, well, I want to build a school around that, an academy. And I said, that is okay, we can help you, we can support you, but I want to have it made available for universities, and I want to have tech companies included. So we started with just a small budget. We invited the 4 universities in this first batch, and 5 tech companies, among which Adyen and Uber. And now we have educated over 1,200 young people into the art of growth hacking. It's a private company now, it's making a lot of, let's say, not only money, but also operational margin, profit, and they are now growing internationally. They now started working in London. So this is how we can see ourselves as a center point when it comes to growth hacking. Another example is that we want to start with our kids. So when we're building this tech ecosystem, it's not only about startups and about the scale-up, but we start with young kids into bringing them into the art of coding. So we activated the program Coding for Amsterdam to have teachers being educated in how to provide coding lessons. So this is a huge effort now, and we're going to ramp up Informatica teacher capacity to also have coding into the secondary schools. So here we push not directly on our tech ecosystem when it comes to startup, but we invest in talent. And within a few years, they will be somewhere at our labor market. So these are a few examples when it comes to the space of talent. Another issue we had was, let's say, funding capital. We always got that complaint, like there is not enough risk capital, there's not enough funding capital. And we debated a lot with VCs, like, do we lack good entrepreneurs or do we lack funding capital? But we said, let's create this event, Capital Week, Amsterdam Capital Week, to have VCs meet with each other, to bring international risk capital to Amsterdam, to teach startups about how to pitch. And this event is now going to the third edition. We started it as a public-private partnership, and now it is into the hand of 2 entrepreneurs. It's teamed up with Startup Fest, so we're going to really build a huge event in September, the end of the last week of September. And Ton van het Noordeinde is now traveling around Europe to all the VC communities and bringing them to Amsterdam in that particular week. One of the examples of focusing on content, bringing events to Amsterdam and creating events. So what I said, it is a lot. So this is what we are working on. Another example is how can we activate our corporates, our multinationals as a launching customer. And for that reason, we founded what we call the Corporate Partner Network. There we have now 85 corporates willing to be a launching customer, like KLM, like ING, like Philips, Heineken, all those players. So you can reach out to them when you have a startup and pitch to them. And we said we don't want them only as a launching customer, we want to have you activate within what is happening here. So now they bring in their distribution channels, they be sponsor in events, and they really are a part of what is going on here. So our head of partnerships, Anja, is constantly connecting corporates with what is happening here in Amsterdam. 2 weeks ago, we had civil servants being trained in lean startup. Can you imagine? In business model canvas, which was a part of the Startup in Residence program, where we have city challenges being activated, and we ask startups to come up with solutions. And then we bring them into the city hall for a period of 4 months to be incubated, to have not only solutions from startups, but act as a launching customer, as a government. So these are a few examples to play a role as a municipality in activating a startup ecosystem, and not only as a municipality, but have civil servants understand what it is to work as a startup, to be a startup. To wrap up what we already kickstarted, is to mention the Startup Amsterdam portal. So when you go to startupamsterdam.org, there, for instance, you can see our event calendar, where we have over 900 events a year in the space of tech. This is one of the examples, but we literally invite the tech bloggers from TechCrunch, from Business Insiders to Amsterdam to tell our story. This is why we got published and why we were ranked so high. So all these are examples of what we already initiated. So the last already kickstarted instrument to push Amsterdam as a startup center point is what we call Scale. We reached out a year ago to 17 cities around Europe, like Berlin, like London, and we said, hey, can you connect with us and can you share your corporate launchpad networks? And the example I always give, when a startup in the Netherlands is selling to a retailer like Ahold, then tomorrow I can connect him with Carrefour via our Paris & Co partners, and the day after tomorrow I can introduce this startup with Tesco via our London partners. So what we are doing now, we are building this European launchpad for startups to grow internationally. And it's all available for you, for your startups. So this is what we did already. But we needed to do more. I promise you, we do a lot. And this is not me, this is, all those players. We said we need not only focus on verticals, but we need to be upfront when it comes to emerging technologies. And therefore we have now a master plan for artificial intelligence in the making. And my invitation to you is, who is in the field of artificial intelligence, come up, join forces, because we are going to ramp up with a fund. We're going to put an institute in place. We're going to embrace AI as a city to do a lot of test activities and challenges. And with that, we really want to be upfront when it comes to AI. As an example, this is the AMSxTech schedule of a brand what we are making. A second example, in October this year, we have the World Summit AI. And the World Summit AI brings 2,000 experts and front runners on AI to Amsterdam. We have that in the Westergasfabriek, a huge event. So please join forces there. Also, with our corporates, and we bring cities from around the world to Amsterdam to claim actually this center, being the center point. And one last example is how we work together with all kinds of places, the OBA, the library startup center. When I was traveling into London, we saw the British Library. And there they have this business and IP center. And startups can step in and get access to free market or industry information, databases. They are being helped for that slide when it comes to their market setting. So we are now working with the KVK, with our VCs, with the Ready2 program, to have a startup center where startups can step in and really work on, the market scan and the market information. So to wrap up with, this is what we do, and when we say we, this is always a partnership. I mentioned BSSA, this is a collaboration with B Amsterdam, with Manpower, with a few of the academies. When it comes to the coding for kids, we needed laptops for schools. So we reached out to a corporate, and then we found the ABN AMRO Foundation, and they were sponsoring laptops. And now hundreds of kids are being trained with these laptops. So we play a role there, but we are not, let's say, the leading partner. When it comes to the corporate network, we work together with the economic board. We work together with a lot of now corporate programs that are being activated by accelerators and incubators. So in every example, Startup Amsterdam has a, let's say, small or a bigger role, but we are working together with other players. So sometimes we are an enabler, sometimes we are a neutral broker, sometimes we start something that is not out there, like the Capital Week, and then we hand it over. Sometimes we are the marketing voice, so we figure out what role is needed, and then we move forward. And we leave it in private hands, or we leave it in public hands. Which leads me to saying that it's only 1.5 years that Startup Amsterdam as a program will be in place. Then we have to have everything we did or initiated embedded in the system, in the ecosystem. So the marketing will be handed over to Amsterdam Marketing. The Startup in Residence program will be handed over to the CTO office. The Growth Tribe Academy is already in private hands. So what our goal now is to have everything, in good hands, and to have the things that we initiate, kickstarted, to have that in such a, let's say, speed that it's going through the gravity. I invite you all to join, let's say, our mission, to join our ecosystem and to make these activities, initiatives work. And for that we have 20 minutes just around the corner, so we have that conversation. But we are working on this 24/7 7 days a week. We work like hell to make it work for startups in Amsterdam to grow into the world. So thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Ruben.
For one question, huh?
Perfect in time. You must get a lot of requests from startups or small companies coming up to you and saying, hey, I know you're in charge of ecosystem, but what can you do specifically for me? What do you do with these requests?
So what I then typically say, so I'm not there for you as an individual startup, but what do you need? So when they say, well, I need finance or being funded, I say, well, we have this Ready To program coming up that will support you, guide you in getting funded. When they are in need of a launching customer and want to be connected, say, hey, reach out to the corporate network, and there you will find what corporates join forces. And if you can't find the corporate you want to be in touch with, then reach out to our startup liaison, Iris, and she will make a connection in whatever way. So every time we figure out, how we can be of help, but it's not an individual help. We try to create a system that helps, the whole ecosystem grow.
Very cool, very cool. Thank you so much.